guys, so I'm really excited because as you might be able to tell from the title, depending on what we decide to make it, I'm gonna be on TV. You guys might remember from a couple weeks ago, I went to film at Paramount Studios for the show The Doctors. And so my segment is gonna be airing this Tuesday, which is gonna be, I believe, so this Tuesday, January 24th. I think you're seeing this video on Monday. And that's gonna be at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check your local listings. The reason that I was on The Doctors is actually not because of anything weight loss related or things that you might assume. And I've hinted here and there or just talked a little bit about my past with ovarian issues and premature infertility and such. And that is the reason that I went on The Doctors actually. So I just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of background. When I was really young, I was diagnosed with, PCOS, but that's just because at a very young age, I was insulin resistant. I had super high cholesterol, it was literally in the 300s when I was 9 years old. And then when I got my period at about 12, I had really horrible cramps. One night I had ended up in the hospital. The cramps were so bad that I was in and out of the hospital for them. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. And that's after they found that I had cysts on my ovaries through ultrasound and whatnot. So I was put on birth control and just thought that I had bad periods, but it got to the point where I ended up in the hospital with the most excruciating pain I have ever felt in my life. And it ended up being an ovarian torsion. There's a whole story just in that one night of being misdiagnosed with something else and whatnot. But an ovarian torsion is basically when the ovary twists itself and or twists around the tube because, actually a few things can cause it, but it twists so that blood circulation is cut off, so blood is flowing into the ovary, it's pumping in, and it's unable to escape, and so the ovary is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's extremely painful. I ended up going into emergency surgery, and I had to have my right ovary removed. And so in this surgery, the doctors found that most likely the reason that I had this torsion in the first place was because of the cysts on my ovaries. Like I said, they had discovered that previously, but the cysts on my ovaries combined with something that was different with my anatomy. And that something was that my ligaments that connected the ovaries were longer than normal, and so with the weight, so the ligaments are what allow the ovary to move, and so because the ovary was being weighed down by the cysts, it actually ended up swinging and twisting around itself. The surgeon at the time, the operating surgeon in the ER, he decided once he saw that the ligaments were longer, he decided that the right ovary was too damaged to leave in or untwist or anything like that. So he had to remove that one, but to prevent a further torsion on the other ovary, the left one, he actually shortened that ligament. So long story short, I had my ovary removed. It started a little bit of mental issues, psychological things for me, but I was pretty much A-okay to sort of let that be in the past. Went back into school, got out of middle school, or almost. I think I was in 8th grade then when another night I ended up in the emergency room. This was a month before I turned 14. And it was the same type of pain, just horrible, excruciating, like someone's stabbing you. And it felt that same region, but it was on the left side this time. And for that reason, I was just thinking okay, well, it's on the left side, he shortened the ligament, so it's impossible that it's a torsion, it's probably just bad cramps, or it's, I got diagnosed with a bladder infection, misdiagnosed. And so the pain got to be so bad though that they ended up doing an emergency surgery again. Ended up being another ovarian torsion, and that's what they found in the surgery. And so this time, it kind of brought about the issue of, okay, well, you're 14 years old, without ovaries, you can't have kids, one ovary, people have, some people have one ovary and don't have problems at all with getting pregnant, but no ovaries means no eggs means no baby, so she decided, this was a different surgeon at the time, she decided to leave the ovary in, and how she did that was basically just untwisting it and letting it be kind of, and stitching it so that it was kind of secured and wouldn't twist itself. So she left the ovary in and basically said that, okay, so in 6 weeks it should, if it's going to come back to life, like the other one, it was very damaged and like purple and just, it had expanded to, if an ovary is normally this size, where can you see that? There you go. Ovary is normally this size. Mine had expanded to about the size of a grapefruit, so something like that. So she decided to leave it in just because I was only 14 and not having ovaries is a big deal. So left it in, said in 6 weeks it should, if it's going to revive or come back to life type thing, that it should in that amount of time. It did not, and for 8 months I was having like routine blood tests and ultrasounds, and they were all showing no function from my ovary. So this is a whole other story, but that's when a lot of my depression and anxiety set in, because I was having to face the fact that, okay, so I don't have an ovary now. I don't have any ovaries. And I was confronted with the reality of only being 14 and knowing that I could not be a mom, at least, you know, the way that as a 14-year-old or as a young person, you just assume that you're going to in the future. So like I said, 8 months went by and I was having routine blood tests and ultrasounds. I think they were monthly. And during that 8 months, I was experiencing, or I was diagnosed with premature ovarian failure. And so I was experiencing symptoms like that of menopause, basically. So I was having hot flashes, cold sweats, hella mood swings. My family can attest to that one. And meanwhile, I was just like I transferred into a high school and stuff from middle school, trying to assimilate myself, and I just felt really freaking weird and different from the other kids because I was that girl without the ovaries who couldn't have babies. And so I ended up, you know, I was in high school, whatever, started that. A lot of the depression, anxiety it became like, it really took over my life. But then after 8 months, I went in for just another one of my routine blood tests / ultrasounds, and all of a sudden my ovaries showed function. And we thought it was a fluke mistake at first. I thought that maybe the blood lab like switched my blood with someone else's. My doctor couldn't explain it. And so we were really baffled, but it turns out, and I still to this day have no explanation for it. No one really does. It's kind of just like my miracle, but my ovary was actually functioning. After showing no signs for 8 whole months, it all of a sudden started showing function. So my doctor at that point referred me to a fertility specialist, and that is Dr. Wendy Chang. I love her so much. That's the one that you guys are gonna see on the show The Doctors. She went on with me. I did 1 round of egg freezing with her. And before we went into that, she basically explained that because I was so young at the time, so this, when I did have the egg freezing, that was, or egg retrieval and freezing, that was when I was 15. And so I was the youngest patient that she had done. And basically what all doctors, for that matter, have told me is just that this is completely uncharted territory. They don't know. My ovaries function is on borrowed time. It could stop functioning completely. I mean, they told me before I would be out of high school that it would be. Thank God now, you know, I graduated 2 years ago and my ovaries still cranking as far as I think. But yeah, so we were able to go ahead and do the first retrieval and freezing, and I was lucky enough to get 10 viable eggs from that first retrieval with Dr. Chang, and she recommends having 20. I think having 20 eggs frozen gives me a good chance of getting 2 actual pregnancies from those once I'm ready to, you know, once I'm married and have a partner, want to start a family, and you know, we would then, it's still a crazy situation to be in, to know that I'm gonna have to, you know, my husband's sperm is gonna be created, like made an embryo with my eggs that are frozen in an egg bank right now, and that's how I'm gonna have a baby, you know. But then again, like I said, it's completely uncharted territory. I don't know. My ovary right now, as far as we know, is still functioning, so I could maybe be able to get pregnant right now. Or when I'm ready, like maybe it'll happen naturally. I just don't know. But so I went on the doctors basically to talk about that, my experience with egg retrieval and freezing, and being one of the youngest kind of in, as far as like medically, there weren't any journals or anything like that to refer to of people my age, other than like cancer patients who were having to have their ovaries removed completely, and so they would go through and have eggs frozen. I'm hoping to have another round of egg freezing in the future because, like I said, I have 10 eggs frozen and the goal is 20, so I'm hoping to eventually get to that goal. But I feel really blessed to just have been able to get the 10, and you know, I thought that my health, you guys know, you've watched me go through my whole journey on getting my health back, losing weight, and battling the symptoms of, you know, PCOS and obesity and insulin resistance. And so I'm hoping that the work that I've done for my health will allow me to be able to go through another hopefully successful round of egg freezing. So that's what's coming up in the future for me. I'm really excited for you guys to see the show. It was a really, really fun experience. Like seriously, it was so crazy. I got to play like movie star for a day. I mean, let's be real, I kind of play movie star every day, but I felt so cool. And yeah, it was just really fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have questions about like more details of kind of where I'm at with my infertility or fertility story, journey, medical situation, feel free to leave questions or message me questions, things of that sort. I'm gonna document my whole journey, hopefully being able to have another round of egg freezing. So I'm gonna kind of bring you guys along. I do have an appointment with Dr. Chang coming up soon, at least for just a check-in. I don't know if I'm able to go through another round of freezing. I really hope that I am, but I'm gonna take you guys along for the journey and you're gonna find out with me. So I'm really excited. Anyways, okay, see you next time.